Hey there, folks. Foggy here. Welcome to day 280 of my year of solo board gaming, considered by many to be ill-advised and stupid. We are playing Ugly Gryphon, and we have the local dragons expansion. Essentially, as we have people leave the inn, they do run the risk of getting eaten by Nostrilius, who likes to eat people who are irked by smells. Basically, if you think it stinks, you are going to be a tasty treat. And if Nostrilius eats up three or more inn patrons, then she is going to then burn the entire grid inn down. Not the grid down, that would be something else altogether. We're starting off with the indecisive doppelganger, the bloody barbarian, clumsy wizard, and lazy sorcerer. Alright, so clumsy wizard, I think we ran into this last game. Very good choice for just putting at the bottom of the grid. There's nothing that's going to happen as a result, so we'll just put that there. Let's see. Time Mage could go there right now and would not be a problem. But first I should probably check to make sure I don't have any bad quirks here, and I don't. Bloody Barbarian could go too. Let's go ahead and move the Bloody Barbarian out here. I don't think we have a problem. There's no... Let's move this down also, as far as we can. There we go. Let's see. Wizard is not at the top of the inn. I should be checking this direction, though. There's no beer at the bar. There is beer at the bar. And the wizard is not at the top of the inn. So we draw this, and we still have two fighting to smell, so we're good there. Let's see. Let's move the Time Mage here. And before we draw, there's not an equal amount of food and beer at the inn because it's 2-1 right now. There's no beer at the bar. There is still beer at the bar. Wizard is not top, so they do not go as well. We draw this, and now we have three fighting, so anybody irked by fighting will leave, and fortunately there's nobody like that. So now we're going to send the lazy sorcerer off, which is not good because the lazy sorcerer... Yeah, this would be bad because the lazy sorcerer, if they go out here, they're going to leave because of the fighting. But more importantly, they're going to leave by switching with the clumsy wizard, which will put the clumsy wizard back to the top. And I don't want to do that. So the lazy sorcerer is probably going to stay there for a while. Drunken dwarf I could send out. That would basically make it so that I could not put more than... It'd be very difficult to keep putting more... I'm going to go with the indecisive doppelganger. Sort of fitting, actually. All right, so there's 4 more food at the end. There's not. Time Mage actually kicks in. Shuffle the patrons at the bar back into the deck. Okay. A fairly benign one, I think, because you're basically just getting 4 new cards altogether. But before we go on to the Bloody Barbarian, we actually have to do this so that we can check to see what's going on here. All right, so sensitive hunter, stressed satyr, charitable giant, lazy sorcerer. Good friend, the lazy sorcerer is back. Okay, so there's no beer at the bar. There is beer at the bar. The clumsy wizard is not at the top of the inn. However, now we check this to see who is... actually, let me think about that for a moment. It did not say redraw the bar, so technically speaking, so I should do this correctly. We're going to put these on top here because we know that those are our top 4 cards. Shuffle patrons at the bar back into the deck. We did that. We are not told to redraw yet, so there is no beer at the bar. The barbarian leaves. On the way out, he runs up and down the hall swinging his axe. All patrons in the inn irked by fighting leave too. So he is our first person to leave the inn, sadly. And then if the wizard is at the top of the line, fortunately, we don't have to worry about that. So now we go ahead and redraw. We fill up the bar. And this is where things get bad. Because we have 3 people who are offended by, or who are generating noise. Not noise, stink. They stink. The stress satyr, the charitable giant, and the lazy sorcerer all have a stench to them. So our clumsy wizard leaves. The wizard casts a brand new spell. Take the 3 patrons below him, shuffle them, and place them back in random order. So now, what I'm kind of curious about is whether or not. So that's as he leaves. So he does leave, and he gets eaten by Nostrelius the Red. Very sad day indeed. The clumsy wizard's gone. All right, so now let's get this lazy dude out of here. We're just gonna get them out. She is not on the 5th floor or higher. There's not more than 4 food. There's not an equal amount, so we'll go ahead and draw again. We got our first goblin triplet. This is a person who is entertained by fighting, so I think we're just simply going to get this goblin triplet up there so that we do not have to worry about that. However, I'm sure you just noticed it. That's going to kick in the time mage again. If there are 3 goblins in the end, there are not. If the sorcerer's on the 5th floor or higher, no. If there's 4 or more food, no. If there's an equal amount of food, these 3 get shuffled back in, and we start over again. I'm beginning to hate the time mage. All right, drunken dwarf, goblin triplet, rusty ranger. I lucked out there. No one's thing is getting tripped, so that's amazing. We're gonna go ahead and move one of the goblin triplets. We're gonna move the stinky one up. 3 goblins in the end. That's not the case. This is not on the 5th floor or higher. There is not 4. There is 3 food, but there's not 4. And then there's not an equal amount of food and beer. So we can't put any more food in here, which means the next one is going to be a beer, which means we're going to shuffle this up again, at least at some point. We get the teetotaling nun, which means anybody offended by noise is going to leave. Say goodbye to the goblin triplet. Does not get eaten, but does leave. Which means I think we could just send this. We're in the same situation as before. We've got 3 food, 2 beer, so it doesn't trip. But if we decide to put another food in there, we're going to have a problem. Fasting monk cannot go on top. They will just simply leave and get eaten by the dragon. Teetotaling nun does not want beer above or below, so we could go with that. That is going to trip the doppelganger. Put the drunken dwarf up there. That is going to basically make it so that either the drunken dwarf or the indecisive doppelganger gets swapped out. And 3 more beer at the bar. We don't have to worry about that right now. The biggest problem is that kind of want to make a buffer here for the monk. I think Rusty Ranger is going to go to the top. All right, so let's go through. We've got, if there's 3 more beer at the bar, there's not. We should actually have it like that. 3 more goblins, nope. 3 more goblins, nope. 5th floor, nope. 4 more food, nope. Equal amount. These 3 get shuffled back in. Because the time age is at the bottom now, it is, I think, less of a concern. Currently we are at 6, and I think to win we have to get 8. Nope, still 7. One of the other expansions, more patrons, that bumps it up to 8. So if we can get 1 more person at the top there, we are golden. Charitable Giant, Bunny Prince, Stress Satyr, and Sleepy Summoner. This is not what we wanted because these are 3 people who bring stench with them. So that is going to drive out one of our goblin triplets who does get eaten and becomes the second victim. That's not good. Irritating. Okay, so we got 3 beer, 2 food. What are we going to do here? We're going to move the Charitable Giant, I think, to the top. If the inn has 3 consecutive food or beer, no. If there's... Oh my freaking lord. If there are 3 or more beer at the bar. No, I don't have to worry about that. I'm sorry. I freaked out there for a moment. That's not true. That's not true. There is not 4 food at the... And then that's good. Okay, so that's all good. We're going to draw again here. Hopefully not a stench. It's not. It's a war bear. All right, so I think we can put the war bear at top, except we can't because that'll trigger the charitable giant. It has to be food that goes on top. I think food is going to work here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Yep, stress satyr will go to the top. Now let's just go through and check this off bit by bit. Stress satyr, if there's no beer in the inn, there's beer at the inn. If we have 3 consecutives, we don't have 3 consecutives. If there is 3 or more beer at the bar, there is not. If there are 3 goblins at the inn, there is not. Not on the 5th floor. We have 1, 2, 3 food. Nope. And 4 beer, so we're good there. And we draw one last bar patron who's going to come in. It's the teetotaling nun. She makes some noise with the bunny prince, but other than that, we have succeeded. And unfortunately, we lost 2 people to dragons, and we lost 2 other patrons who just simply left on their own. But for the most part, this was actually pretty successful. So there we go. We got another win. We're going to be coming back tomorrow with one more iteration of this time with more patrons added in along with the dragons. And we'll see how that goes tomorrow.